All right, today we're going to unpack a modern financial mystery.
You know what I'm talking about, right? You see it all the time. That massive, gleaming $70,000 truck parked in your neighbor's driveway. And you know they have a totally normal job, just like you. So you can't help but wonder, how in the world do they afford that? The math just, it doesn't add up. Well, guess what? We're about to break down exactly how it's done.
Okay, so let's just dive right into the numbers, shall we? Right now, the average monthly payment for a brand new car in America has blown past $725. And listen, that's not for some fancy luxury car. That's the average. For a whole lot of people, that one payment is more than they spend on groceries for the entire month. Think about that.
And you know what? If you think that's crazy, just wait. It gets so much worse. For new trucks, and let's be honest, they're everywhere, the average payment is getting dangerously close to $1,000 a month. We are literally talking about people signing on the dotted line for $1,200 a month payments that go on for 7, sometimes even 8 years. It's insane.
So the first thing you think is, okay, well, people's incomes must be going through the roof, right? But that's not it. Not even a little bit. The real answer, it's a whole system, a kind of financial engineering that's been perfected to make something that should be impossible seem totally possible. It's a trap, plain and simple, and we're going to show you exactly how it works.
So what's the first piece of this puzzle? Well, it's probably the oldest trick in the sales playbook. Just stretch out the loan term, like way out. I mean, do you remember when a 4-year car loan was the normal thing? Yeah, well, those days are long, long gone.
And this right here, this is where you can see the illusion in action. It's almost like a magic trick. You take that scary $1,500 payment on a 4-year loan, you stretch it out to 8 years, and poof, it drops down to a much more manageable $900. And that's all the buyer focuses on, that monthly number. But the real trick, the one they don't want you to look at, is the total cost. You end up paying an extra $14,000 just in interest. That's $14,000 for nothing more than a smaller payment each month.
And what happens when you have these super long loans? Well, they lead you straight into financial quicksand. Because here's the thing about cars. They lose value fast. So with an 8-year loan, it's almost a guarantee that you'll end up upside down. That's what we call negative equity. It means you owe the bank way more than your car is actually worth. And that means you can't sell it, you can't even trade it in without cutting a huge check just to get back to zero. You are, in every sense of the word, trapped.
Okay, so once you're in the trap, how does the system keep you there? How does it make sure you don't get out? That's where the real cycle starts. And believe me, it is brutally effective. And then there's the big one, right? The siren song of 0% financing. We've all seen those commercials. It sounds like free money, but spoiler alert, it is absolutely not free money. The cost of that free loan, it's just hidden, baked right into a higher price for the car. You always have to choose. You can get the 0% interest, or you can get a big discount. You never, ever get both. And you know what the real kicker is? The credit score you need to qualify is so perfect that most buyers can't get it anyway.
And this next part is the absolute masterstroke of the whole trap. So follow me here. A couple years into your 8-year loan, you're getting tired of the car. It's only natural. But you're completely underwater, right? Deep in negative equity. So you go to the dealership and they say, no problem. We'll just take that old debt, all those thousands you still owe, and roll it right into the loan for your brand new car. A new, even more expensive car. So your debt doesn't go away. It gets bigger. It's snowball.
And man, this quote just hits the nail on the head. You're working hard. You're making those payments every single month, but every time you trade in for a new car, your total debt actually goes up. It's the perfect picture, isn't it? You're sprinting as fast as you can on this financial hamster wheel, but you're not just standing still, you're actually going backwards.
So, okay, that's the how. Those are the mechanics of the trap. But the really big question is, why? Why do so many smart people walk right into this? Well, that's where things get really interesting. Because it turns out this was never really about just getting from point A to B.
I mean, just stop and think about this for a second. If your friend told you they were spending $1,200 a month on coffee, you would probably stage an intervention, right? You'd be seriously concerned. But a $1,200 a month car payment, we just nod our heads and say, oh yeah, well, you got to have reliable transportation. This complete normalization of what is an absolutely insane expense, that's the result of decades of brilliant, brilliant marketing. Because here's the real secret to all of this. Car companies, they don't really sell cars. They sell identities. You watch that truck commercial, it's not about towing capacity or horsepower. It's selling you a fantasy. The fantasy of being this rugged, independent mountain climbing hero.
even though you're just commuting to your office job. And the moment you stop buying a car for transportation and start buying it as a piece of your identity, well, all financial logic just goes straight out the window.
And the things people do to pay for this identity, it's just staggering. I mean, we're talking about people pulling money from their retirement accounts, taking out loans against their 401ks, just to scrape together a down payment. Let's be really clear about what's happening here. They are literally borrowing from their future selves, from their own financial security, all to fund a fantasy that's parked in their driveway today.
All right, so we've spent a lot of time on the monthly payment, but honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The true all-in cost of owning one of these vehicles is a number so big, most people they don't even want to calculate it. It's too scary. So you know what? Let's do it for them. Let's run the actual, real-world numbers. Okay, let's take a typical $55,000 truck. You finance it over 7 years. So over that time, your payments alone come out to $67,000. But we're not done, not even close. Let's add insurance. That's another 21 grand. What about fuel? Get ready for this. $29,000. And then there's maintenance, tires, repairs. Let's be conservative and say another $15,000. So when you add it all up, where do you land? The grand total is
$132,000 to own a $55,000 truck for just 7 years. Just let that number sink in for a minute. And after all that money, after all that time, what do you actually have to show for it? A used truck that's worth what? Maybe 15 grand if you're lucky? Yeah, let's just call this what it actually is. This isn't financing transportation. This is wealth destruction that just happens to have cup holders. You've basically spent the price of a small house to own and operate a machine that is designed to lose value every single day. But hey, at least you got those heated seats, right? And look, if that total cost didn't shock you, maybe this will. This chart shows you what we call opportunity cost, and it's devastating. See that little bar on the left? That's the value of your truck after 7 years, $15,000. Now look at the bar on the right. That is what you could have had if you just invested all those payments into a simple, boring index fund. Over $70,000. You could have been building real wealth, but instead, well, you built a really big truck payment. So after seeing all this, the question is, why do people defend these decisions so passionately? I mean, to the death sometimes. Well, there's actually a pretty good name for it: automotive Stockholm Syndrome. It's when you become so emotionally attached to your financial captor, that big machine sitting in your driveway, that it literally becomes a part of who you are. And so any suggestion to drive something cheaper feels less like good financial advice and more like a direct attack on your identity. And all of this really just boils down to one final, and I think really critical question that you have to ask yourself. Is your vehicle a tool that's helping you build your life? Or has your life, your job, your money, your future, become the tool that's being used to build your vehicle? The answer to that one question, well, it tells you everything you need to know about whether or not you're caught in the trap.